The multiverse has seen titans rise and gods fall, but every so often, destiny twists reality itself to bring together forces that should never share the same stage. Deep in the folds of creation, beyond the gaze of mortals, the threads of fate began weaving the tale of Cain Marko, the Juggernaut, and Doomsday, the ultimate predator of Krypton. Cain Marko was not born to greatness. Overshadowed by his stepbrother Charles Xavier, Cain was consumed by anger, bitterness, and resentment. His life was a tale of fists thrown in vain and pride wounded beyond healing. That all changed when he stumbled into the lost temple of Cyttorak. There, bathed in the crimson glow of the Crimson Gem, Cain's mortal weaknesses dissolved into nothingness. He was reborn as the Juggernaut, avatar of Cyttorak's unstoppable power. With every step he took, the earth trembled. His body became an indestructible fortress, his strength limitless, his momentum eternal. No wall, no army, no god could halt him once he began his march. Juggernaut's very existence was a declaration: I cannot be stopped. But in another universe, far removed from Cain's tragedy, a nightmare was bred in cruelty. Doomsday was no accident of nature. He was engineered on ancient Krypton. Before the rise of its civilization, scientists sought to create the ultimate life form, a being that could adapt to any environment, overcome any threat, survive any death. Through endless cycles of torture, death, and rebirth, a creature was forged. Every time it perished, it returned immune to whatever had killed it. Pain became its cradle, death its teacher, hatred its essence. The result was Doomsday, a walking extinction event, a beast whose sole instinct was to destroy. Doomsday's legacy was carved in corpses and broken worlds. He battled the entire Justice League, shrugged off their might, and brought Superman, the Man of Steel, to his knees. He was not a conqueror like Darkseid, nor a schemer like Lex Luthor. He was something far worse. Doomsday was raw annihilation, the personification of unrelenting evolution. If Juggernaut was unstoppable force, Doomsday was indestructible consequence. The cosmos should have kept them apart, but rifts in reality are never predictable. When gods battle and universes collide, the seams between realities grow thin. Cyttorak himself, always hungry to prove the supremacy of his avatar, looked into the multiverse and saw Doomsday, a being that claimed to adapt to any opponent, that defied death itself. Cyttorak whispered into Cain's soul, "Prove that you are the ultimate force. Face the beast that even gods fear." Simultaneously, Doomsday stirred. Drifting through the void after another apocalyptic rampage, he sensed a new challenge. It was not thought. Doomsday did not think in human terms. It was instinct, a primal pull towards something that radiated endless motion, endless resistance. A natural predator had scented prey, or perhaps another predator. The stage of collision would not be Earth, nor Krypton, nor even the Crimson Cosmos. It would be a shattered dimension between universes, a battlefield of broken worlds and cosmic debris, abandoned by gods after wars long forgotten. Planets floated as ruins, their cores exposed like broken bones. Rivers of molten rock poured into the void, forming crimson seas that glowed against eternal night. In this wasteland of cosmic scars, two forces would meet. Cain Marko arrived first, his massive frame wreathed in the glowing aura of Cyttorak's enchantment. Every step he took left craters in the floating fragments of stone beneath his boots. He clenched his fists, his helmet gleaming with ancient power. He had been promised the ultimate test, and Juggernaut welcomed it. Then the void trembled. From beyond the horizon of shattered planets came a howl that was not born of lungs, but of pure rage. Doomsday landed with the force of a meteorite, claws digging into the fractured rock, eyes burning with the hatred of 1,000 deaths. His bone protrusions glistened like jagged blades, his muscles coiled with endless fury. There was no speech, no warning. Doomsday never spoke, for he had nothing to say, only destruction to give. For a brief moment, the two titans simply stood there, staring across the void. Juggernaut, the chosen of Cyttorak, and Doomsday, the perfected monster of Krypton. Two beings who did not yield, who did not retreat, who did not know defeat. Around them, the ruins of dead worlds seemed to recoil in anticipation, as if the battlefield itself feared what was about to unfold. And then it began, not with words but with a tremor in the air, a silent acknowledgement that history was about to be written in shockwaves and broken stars. Juggernaut tightened his fists. Doomsday lowered his body, preparing to charge. The unstoppable force had met the unkillable monster, and the multiverse braced itself for impact. The clash was inevitable. The void of broken worlds fell silent, as if even the remnants of dead universes understood the storm that was about to erupt. Juggernaut stood tall, fists clenched, aura blazing like a furnace of raw crimson power. Doomsday, his jagged form twitching with instinctive rage, crouched low, their eyes locked, not with recognition, for Doomsday knew nothing of names or legends, only the scent of a worthy kill. Then it happened. Juggernaut charged first, each stride shaking the fractured terrain. He was a mountain in motion, a force that no law of physics could halt. His bellow echoed across the cosmos. Nothing stops the Juggernaut. Doomsday answered with action. With an ear-splitting roar, he lunged forward. The ground beneath him disintegrated. Rock shards vaporized under the sheer power of his leap. His claws extended, aiming to shred the crimson Juggernaut before him. They met in the center of the battlefield. The collision was apocalyptic. The impact tore a floating planetoid in half, shockwaves rippling outward to obliterate debris miles away. Cracks of energy spider webbed through the void, and for a moment, even time itself seemed to hesitate. Juggernaut staggered, but did not fall. Doomsday reeled back, but only for a heartbeat, his body already adapting to the force that had struck him. Juggernaut grinned beneath his helmet. "Good, you can take it." He swung a fist the size of a wrecking ball, smashing into Doomsday's chest. The monster flew backward through an asteroid, pulverizing it into a storm of dust. Before the fragments could settle, Juggernaut was already upon him, fists raining down like hammers of war. Each blow carried the weight of Cyttorak's enchantment, force magnified by endless momentum. But Doomsday was no stranger to overwhelming force. With a guttural roar, he caught Juggernaut's next punch mid-swing. The ground beneath them shattered under the strain of their locked power. Doomsday's claws dug into Juggernaut's arm, bone spurs tearing at enchanted flesh that would have shredded any mortal being. Sparks of crimson energy hissed as Cyttorak's protection resisted the onslaught. Juggernaut snarled and headbutted the monster. The crack reverberated like a thunderclap, sending Doomsday stumbling back, fragments of bone splintering from his skull, only to regrow almost instantly, sharper than before. Doomsday's eyes flared brighter. The beast had learned. With a feral leap, Doomsday tackled Juggernaut, the two titans plummeting through floating rock masses. They smashed through mountains of debris, each impact leveling anything in their path. Doomsday unleashed a flurry of bone-crushing blows, his claws tearing, his fists hammering Juggernaut deeper into the stone. But Juggernaut roared back, his aura igniting like wildfire. "I'm the avatar of Cyttorak. You can't touch me." With sheer brute force, he shoved Doomsday off him and unleashed a ground-shaking punch that sent the Kryptonian terror flying across the void once more. Doomsday landed hard, gouging a crater into the bedrock of a shattered planet. For a moment, silence. Then he rose, unharmed, unbroken, stronger than before. His breathing was heavier, his claws sharper, his spines more jagged. He had adapted. Juggernaut's grin faded. For the first time he felt something stir in his chest, not fear, but excitement laced with the tiniest drop of doubt. The battle raged on. Juggernaut charged again, unstoppable, plowing through collapsing landscapes as Doomsday met him head-on. Each clash tore the battlefield apart, entire landmasses crumbling into nothingness. Juggernaut slammed his fists like meteors. Doomsday countered with claws that ripped at his armor, shredding parts of his crimson plating. But Cain Marco was not just flesh. He was the vessel of Cyttorak. No wound slowed him. No strike weakened his march. Every time Doomsday knocked him down, Juggernaut rose, his steps thundering forward. Every time Doomsday adapted, Juggernaut adapted in his own way, not by evolution, but by sheer refusal to yield. The clash reached its zenith when Juggernaut, bellowing like a war god, tackled Doomsday through the core of a floating planet. Lava and molten iron exploded outward, painting the void in crimson light. The two emerged on the other side, Juggernaut gripping Doomsday by the throat. "You don't get it, monster. I can't be stopped." Kane roared, slamming Doomsday into the void with force enough to shatter continents, but Doomsday's glowing eyes burned with eternal rage. His claws wrapped around Juggernaut's helmet, ripping at it with unnatural strength. With a violent wrench, Doomsday tore the helmet free, exposing Kane's scarred face beneath. For a moment, Juggernaut's aura flickered, but not his resolve. Fueled by fury, Juggernaut slammed his forehead into Doomsday's face, breaking jagged bone spikes and forcing the beast back. He reclaimed his helmet in a single motion, jamming it back on. "Nobody strips me down. Not you. Not anyone." The final collision came as both monsters charged one last time. Juggernaut a crimson comet, Doomsday a storm of bone and hatred. The impact was so catastrophic that it split the battlefield into fragments, tearing rifts in space itself. Stars dimmed, planets quaked, and silence followed. When the dust settled, only one figure remained standing. It was Juggernaut. His armor cracked, his body bruised, but still walking, still unstoppable. Doomsday lay crumpled among the ruins, his body twitching, already beginning its cursed cycle of adaptation. But Juggernaut had won this round. He planted his foot firmly on the beast's chest and declared into the void, "Not today, not ever. I am the Juggernaut, and nothing survives my path."